Hello everybody, Steve the Hurricane here, and welcome to today's webinar. I am so fired up for this webinar because we're going to talk about something that is so important, and let's face it, it's a crisis. You hear me talk about Home Care Pulse all the time. Home Care Pulse is the only home care specific data research company that exists out there that collects data from agencies all across the country, and when they asked over 1,000 locations in the United States and the surrounding area what was their biggest fear going into 2015, 69% of the agencies out there responded, my biggest fear is the caregiver situation, not having enough caregivers, not having adequate staff to meet the demand. So the greatest opportunity, they said, was direct referral marketing. That's all that we do at Hurricane Marketing Enterprises. But meeting the demand is the biggest fear that people have. That's what this webinar is about. That's what we're going to go through in the next hour, all right? So I'm going to close out my webcam here because I really want you to focus on what you see on the screen as it comes through. I want you to take notes diligently. I want you to interact with me, so when I ask a question, definitely answer the question. So I'm going to ask a question. Are you ready for this information here? Yes. Type yes if you're ready in the chat. Fantastic. I see people. Good. You're ready for the information. Stick and move. You know I talk fast. We're going to fly through this. I'm going to give you everything I've got. And at the end, we're going to talk about the Hurricane Marketing Bootcamp because that's where it all comes together. All right? So I promise I'm going to go over that with you. So let me close myself out. Here we go. Boom. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment here, and I want you to think to yourself, have you ever wondered, have you ever imagined what it would be like, what your business would be like if you didn't have to worry about the regulation changes and the labor laws? Have you ever wondered that to yourself, man, what if I didn't have this problem, what would my business be like? Have you ever wondered to yourself what it would be like to be able to keep your margins where they are? Because I see there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there who are thinking, well, with the regulation changes, with the labor law changes, I got to eat into my margins. What if you didn't have to do that? What would your business be like if you could keep your margins exactly where you want them to be? Would you like that? Have you ever wondered that? Then I want you to think one last time here. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have more caregivers than you can handle? Meaning you have a culture in your organization, in your business, that just produces caregivers. Have you ever wondered what that would be like? Because you see, in this webinar here, I'm going to show you a bunch of things, and I'm going to ask you some questions here. Would you like me to share with you how to solve the recruitment problem? Would you like that? Yes or yes? Awesome. I see a bunch of you typing yes now. Would you like me to share with you exactly how much to charge for your rates in 2016 so that you can solve this crisis? Because it all goes hand in hand. Would you like to know what to charge and exactly how to do it so that you're fair, but how to increase your rates? Would you like to know how to do that? And I got another question for you here. Would you like to know exactly how to increase the rates of existing clients? Would you like that? I thought so. All right, because you're about to discover exactly what to do. I'm going to show you some correspondences that you can send out to clients. You're about to discover exactly the rate that we have to, and we have to do this as a nation together. So all of us on this, I hope we're committed to this because this is a movement that we have to do as a national movement. You're about to discover exactly what percentage we need to increase our rates to be able to meet this demand. And finally, you're about to discover what we have to do to be able to continue to close at a 90% or better ratio regardless of the increase. Because a lot of us are afraid. A lot of us are afraid, well, if I raise my rates, how am I going to get new clients? This is the fear that people have. But I promise you, I'm not going to leave you hanging here. In this hour, I'm going to go through all of this stuff with you. All right? Now, my promise is that when you leave here, you're going to have a clear-cut example of what to charge. You're going to have a clear-cut example of what to do with the price increase, and you're going to have a clear-cut example of what to do so that we can be prepared in 2016 to not only survive, but thrive in the new year. All right? And at the end, when all is said and done, I'm going to give you an invitation to come to the Hurricane Marketing Bootcamp, which is in Phoenix this February, where we have over 100 companies already registered to attend, because I think you should be there. I think you should know what's going on there, because it's all about handling this specific problem. The time is now to act, because as you and I both know, as we all know, the laws are changing, compliance is changing. Many states have gone accreditation, which means we have to get accredited. I don't know if you realize this is a 5-figure cost to get accredited. So it's not like it's a freebie. It's not like the government's just going to do it. You're going to have to pay like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to get accredited. It's a big process. Many people are going to close their doors. If we don't increase our margins, or at least maintain our margins, 2016 is going to be our last year of business. Let's just be real here for a minute. This is why I'm so passionate about this. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help prevent that from happening. But we have to take action. We have to plan accordingly to be able to not only survive in 2016, but we want to thrive. That's the message here. Thrive in 2016. Now, why should you listen to me? Many of you know who I am, but not everybody, because there's always new people every time I speak and I do one of these. I did this for now 10 years. I started in 2005 as a business development director, then became vice president, part owner of a home care company, private pay, in good old New Jersey. All right? I know what it's like to have to increase your rates. I know what it's like to as the marketer and the vice president, I know what it's like to go out and market and be weary or leery of, can we meet the demand if I create it? Right? I know what that's like firsthand. This is the reason why our clients are so successful. You know, in the last 3 years, we've helped 100 companies increase their sales by more than $100 million on top of what they've done. I've trained thousands of individuals. 2 weeks ago, I trained 200 plus people in Las Vegas with my staff. You know, this is what we do. We have clients coast to coast executing the things I'm going to share with you today. That's why you should hear it. And yes, granted, I did this. I know what it's like. I remember when I first came in 2005 as the director of business development. I remember what our conversion ratio was. I remember our rates. We were undercharging for our services. We could not find caregivers back then to be able to meet the demand. We were getting these little tiny dinky cases. We couldn't close them. We had no closing process. The only person who could close was the owner of the company. We didn't have an inquiry management process. When I came in, I sat down. I said, how do we answer the phones? What do we do? And we filled out a sheet of paper. When we met with the client, we walked them through our brochure and filled out a form, and that was it. There was no process there. How could we do all the things that we needed to do to survive and to thrive and to grow if we didn't have all of this stuff? And that's what led me to start creating it in our company then. And then when I left that company and I started Hurricane Marketing Enterprises, this is what we do now for people all across the country. And all of our clients have access to this, and this is exactly what this is how they grow their business and their margins. This is how they're going to thrive. Now, I know the challenges we face, because you're thinking, Steve, this sounds great in theory. I want to increase my rates, but as it is, the social workers and the discharge planners, they already say they can't, nobody can afford our services. When I talk to my clients and I tell them that we're $20 an hour, which is the national average, I'm going to show you some averages in a minute, that's too much. I can't afford that. That's what people say. How can I increase my rates if people can't afford them now? And I promise you, we're going to get through these challenges together. I promise you, we're going to give you the solutions right here, right now. And I promise you, for those of you who are going to see us in Phoenix, you are going to be completely blown away, and it is going to completely change the culture of your business. And that's what the Hurricane Marketing Bootcamp is all about. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk you through pieces of this event that are going to help you right now immediately, and then I'm going to invite you to come and see me there because I would love to have you there. All right? So let's jump right into it. Here are the 4 things that we have to do right now to be able to overcome the labor laws they're coming. We have to overcome this. We got to act now. All right? First thing we got to do is we have to be able to increase our rates. We have to increase wisely. Don't want to go loose cannon. You can't overcharge, but you definitely can't undercharge. There's a fair, happy medium. I'm going to give you exactly what that is today on this webinar. You have to be able to respond to the call. How do I take that inquiry call? Who should take it? What should I cover on it? What should I discuss price? I'm going to go over that today. We're going to talk about closing confidently because I don't know what's more important, the inquiry, how we handle the phone call, or how we handle seeing them. I think they're kind of intertwined and they're related, but these are two very important hour-long plus sessions at the event in Phoenix. This is how we close the person with a higher rate. And again, it's not a higher rate than average. What I'm talking about here is we as the country, we have to raise our rate to a new average, but I'll get to that in a second. How do you close at that new rate and still keep referrals closing and still keep clients coming in your door? And then finally, the last thing I'm going to go through here on this hour, because I got you for an hour, the last thing I'm going to do is talk about recruitment and retention practices that I've used, practices that some of our clients have used, practices that I'm going to go over at the boot camp that are going to help you to retain the best caregivers. And what do you do when you have the best caregivers to leverage that for more business? Everything is interrelated and intertwined. So if the government's going to force our hands, let's boldly, with confidence, go into 2016. Who's with me? Are you with me? Yes or yes? You with me on this? We going boldly in 2016 together? Yes or yes? I'll say yes. That's right. That's right. Melanie, that's right. Robin, John, yes, yes, yes. Boldly go where no one has gone before. That's right. Well, actually, where I've gone before and some of our clients, yes. Mark Ross, I love you, man. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Okay, so here we go. First thing we got to do, I'm going to show you a stat here. This is a sad but true stat. This is straight from Genworth Financial. You can look up the Genworth Financial Cost Survey. The 2015 one is not available yet, but the 2014 one, because 2015 hasn't ended yet, so that'll be available next year. The 2014 Genworth Financial Survey shows the national average, and I'll show you one state in a minute, but the national average for a home caregiver, a companion, is $19. I don't know who is charging $8. This must be a typo, all right? But nonetheless, the average is $19. And then for a home health aide, which is a CNA or somebody who's got a certification, a certificate that she went to school for, 70 hours, and she's now a home health aide. She could do bathing and toileting transfers and all that good stuff. The national average of this is $20 an hour, as you see right here in the middle. $9 on the low side. This is the problem right here, $9, by the way. Anybody who's charging on the low side, this is the reason why we have these regulations, so you could thank that person. Just pointing them out there. Sorry if that's you on the website right now, but let's be honest, this is the reason why the government's forcing our hand here. And then $39 on the high side, but $20 is the average. Now, this is what I really want you to take a look at. All right, this is the part that is like the what, the huh, drop my mouth. This is the reason why we're here. Look at the 5-year growth. This last column here, over the course of 5 years, that means 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 5 years time, the price has only increased by 1%. 1%. Now, I want you to just sit back in your chair for a moment. I want you to think about everything. The cost of goods. A bottle of Coca-Cola, for example, in 2010, a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola you could probably get for about $1.39 for a 2-liter bottle. That same 2-liter bottle now is probably $1.89, $1.79. And then if you get it on sale, it's $1.59 or $1.49 on sale. We're talking 30% increase. That's 5% every single year. The cost of cars is higher. The cost of everything, every good that you buy now costs more than it did 5 years ago. Right or wrong? Yes or yes? Yes, yes, yes. So why have we, as an industry, and don't take my word for it, what I love about these webinars is I get you the stats. Don't take my word for it, this is Genworth Financial. They work with 1 million people across the country, and they're paying for services everywhere. This is their cost calculator. They did the work. I'm going to share testimonies with you of people who've executed everything. Why? Because I don't want you to take my word for it. Imagine you don't know me from Joe Smo. But let the proof and the people who are doing the things, let them tell the story. All right? I'm just here to be your guide on this journey. All right? This is sad. And what this tells me is that we as a country cannot close. We are afraid to raise our rates. We are now forced to because of labor laws. We are now forced to because of compliance, but we are afraid to raise our rates because if we raise our rates, we're going to lose our clients, and that's our revenue, and that's our business. So instead, what are we doing? We're cutting into our margins, and that's not fair. I was at an event in New Jersey, which I'm going to show you the New Jersey average next, because this is where I live. This is my home state. We're no better. Our national averages are $1. Our state average is $1 more than the national average. But look at us. We still grew a whopping 1% since 2010. I want you to know when I walked away from this business in 2012, when I stopped being the representative and closing clients, I was charging $23.50 an hour. So I was charging 10 to 14% more than what the average is today back in 2012, and I was still closing left and right. So it's not about the price, all right? It's about the confidence, about how to do it and everything. So I'm going to go over this with you. That's why I'm here. This is why my company exists. But this tells me that we don't know how to close. We are afraid to increase our rates, and this is why the government is forcing our hands. This is a problem. Would you agree with me? Yes? Are you feeling the same vibe here? Yes? Yeah, I see a lot of people in here writing yes. You know what I'm talking about. This is the challenge. This is the problem. Vibe is felt. You got it, my friend, all right? So now let's get through this. We got to raise our rates, all right? You saw the national average is sad, all right? We got to increase our rate $1 to $2 an hour. All I'm asking you to do is a 5 to a 10% increase. There's your rate. So if you're in New Jersey, you saw I had that New Jersey average. It's $21. I want you in 2016 to charge $22 to $23 an hour. If you're in San Francisco, I was talking to someone earlier today in San Francisco about an hour ago, one of our clients there, and she was talking about her rates. She's charging $25 an hour. I said 2016, I want you to charge $26 to $27 an hour. That is a fair number. I want you to think to yourself right now, because I already know people got some kickback. Well, I don't know if I can do that. It's too much money. Think about it this way. The national average is $20 for a home health aide, all right? If somebody can't afford $22 an hour, what makes you think they can afford $20 an hour? Just think about that. I'm not talking about rate. I'm not saying go from 20 to 25. I'm not saying go from 25 to 30. I'm saying $1 to $2 an hour, which ultimately is about 10%. That's really whatever you're charging, increase your rates by 10%, because we have, as a country, have to do this across the nation. So we might as well just start doing it now. Stop undercutting yourselves. You're worth it. I want you to get confidence from this webinar. I want to build you up because you are worth it. Think about it this way for a second. Mark and Stephanie and Abby and everybody who's on here, Julia and Kiana and Robin and Harley and Jose and Namada and Steve, every one of you as I'm looking at this, right? I want you to think for a moment. If a client falls at 11 o'clock and you get a phone call, are you not going to answer that phone? Of course you are. If a client passes away at 2 o'clock in the morning and your caregiver calls you, are you going to answer that phone? Yes, you are. If something happens, are you going to get out of your bed and drive over to that house? Yes, you are. You are worth this. You are. So that's what you want to do. Now, Steve asked a very good question. How do you consider high in relation to what your current rate is? Go to the Genworth survey. Look at what it is in your area. Genworth Financial, that's where I got the information from, cost survey of 2014, and look up what it's charging in your area and add 10% to it. That's what you charge for 2016, and don't look back, all right? I got you covered. We're going to go over how to do that next, but it all starts with increasing wisely, all right? Next thing we're going to do here is I want you to review each of your clients. Every client has to get an increase. Now, when you do an increase to your clients, don't do an increase to like straight across the board, meaning like if you're going to raise your rates to $22 from 20 or $23 from 21 or something like that, don't do the same increase to your clients because you want to keep them. I understand you don't want to lose your clients. That's your revenue base. That's how you do your budgeting and everything else. The rate increase you do to your clients is the exact amount plus the taxes that you have to pay to give your caregiver the extra $1, $2 an hour. So whatever you're going to pay your caregivers, whatever helps you to get more caregivers and retain and everything else, you do it on a case-by-case basis and you send them a letter. Let me read a letter to you, an example here. Dear payment, contacts, address of where the care is provider regarding a price increase for the client. Dear so-and-so, I would like to thank you for your continued loyalty to our company. It is our goal to provide the absolute finest professional care and reasonable rates to assist our older population with activities of daily living. Our caregivers are the heart and soul of our company. We go to great strides to attract, screen, and retain the finest caring individuals, yada, 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 so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. Although we do everything impossible to keep our fees as low as possible, it's important we do whatever it takes to maintain the highest quality of providers in the industry. You're coming from a quality standpoint. You can address the regulations in your letter, whatever it is. You are trying to get the best caregivers for their people. Unfortunately, I need to make you aware as of whenever date you want to do this, the rate of blah, 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 blah will be increased by to blah, 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 blah. This increase of blah, 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 blah per day or whatever per hour will go directly to our aides pay. We trust you will support our ongoing efforts. Thank you for your understanding. Done. That's how you do it. You send a letter, you make them aware, you let them know. You know what ends up happening? Let's see, I'll use you as an example here. I'll use you, Julia, right? So Julia, you send a letter to all of your clients. You have 50 clients on your census. 45 of them have no problem with it, problem solved. 5 of them have an issue with it. You go out, you meet with them, you talk to them, you do what you got to do, and you get through it. And ultimately, if you end up letting that person go, you have to let the client go. You know, we are in business to stay in business. We cannot have red. It doesn't make sense to be in business if we're going to lose revenue. So if somebody doesn't want to do what you're forced to do by the government, then you may have to consider it. But again, 95% of your clients are going to be okay with it and accept it. You move on, and then boom, you just solve the problem. Your caregivers, you now can offer a competitive rate. You can meet the labor law problems. You're going to grow your business. Let me share one of the people who came to the boot camp. This is somebody who came a couple of years ago to the boot camp. Wonderful boot camp. Steve, the Hurricane, knows the subject and does a tremendous job in explaining it to the attendees. Not only that, but he gives great advice that can save home care executives or their marketing counterparts considerable time being successful. He takes the mystery and pain out of calling on prospects and getting referrals without driving the very people you need away to call on, and he does it in a fun, loving, yet very focused way. Nice going, Steve. This is somebody who came to the boot camp whose business was changed years ago by the things that we discussed when it comes to inquiry management, closing, and all of the above that we're going to go over at the boot camp, because I only have you for an hour today. Next. Step 2, inquiry management, respond properly. How do we answer the phone? That is the most important thing. And I know some people, I know some of you on this webinar here. I know, let's see, I know Mark and several people. Some of you have very good inquiry management process. How you answer the phone, it's like you generate the referrals. You got to answer the phone correctly to be able to close at this higher rate, all right? And I'll go over in a second what I mean. First off, everybody in your organization needs to know how to answer the phone. This isn't a situation where, well, you know, we have Nicole, and Nicole is our person who answers the phone when an inquiry comes in. What if Nicole is sick? What if Nicole is out? What if Nicole is on the phone with an inquiry and another inquiry comes in? You have to make sure that everybody in your organization understands inquiry management, and that's inquiry management training. That's what you have. You are the owner of the company. You got to make sure that whoever is answering the phone knows how to handle an inquiry, because you just never know what that next phone call could be. It could be a 24/7 shift hour case. It could be a live-in client. It could be 12 hours shifted 84 hours a week. These are great clients that we're after. But if you don't know how to answer the phone, you're never going to be able to convert them at this higher rate. So you have to have a process and train everybody in the office on how to answer the phone. You also have to make sure that everybody's ready for it. What do I mean by ready for it? Well, it can't just be filling out a sheet of paper. Have a form, have a document, have a prospect call sheet. We used to make these when we were back in the day at our company. We have to have a process for answering it, because that gives us readiness. When someone calls in, when we answer the phone, hi, thank you for calling Hurricane Marketing Enterprises. This is Steve. How can I help you? Someone says, yes, I'm calling to find out about your services. My mother needs help. What are your rates? Hang on one second. I can help you with that. Let me just grab a pen and paper. Boom, I grab my pen. I grab my incoming prospect call sheet, and I ask them some questions. I control the conversation, which is the next thing you have to do. You don't just start jumping into it and let them control and tell you, I need to know your price, I need to know this and that, whatever. I want you to think for a second about renovating your house. This is my favorite analogy. I had to redo my bedroom bathroom, the master bathroom, a couple years ago. This was 2 years ago in September. I had to redo my bathroom. When I called around, there wasn't a single person who gave me the price of renovating the bathroom on the phone. You know why? Because they all said, I won't know until I get there. You got to schedule an appointment. Now, if I get calling and saying, what's your price, what's your price, what's your price, nobody's going to tell me. Maybe somebody might tell me the square foot price, and then if they did, what happens then? Oh, that's too much, and I hang up the phone. They don't even know. They don't even know. I don't know. The same thing goes here. Control the contact. They want to know the price. That's great. Well, before I tell you our pricing and all of our information, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions to determine if we're the right company for you. That's how you say it. That's how you answer it. This is all part of increment. This is all stuff I'm going to go over at the boot camp. I'm going to show you exactly. We're going to role play this at the boot camp. All right. We're going to go through this. But that's how you answer the phone. I would like to ask you some questions. Is that okay if I ask you some questions to make sure we're the right company for you? Because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time either. Sure, no problem. Go ahead. And then boom, I follow the process. I have a process. And at the end, the goal is to schedule the appointment. There were many times we scheduled the appointment and people had no idea what the rate was. Not a single clue, because you don't have to get into it. What you do is you answer the question. Think about it for a second. From a prospective client standpoint, when you guide them the right way on that inquiry call, you say to the person, I'm going to set up a time for you to meet with Steve, have a free one-on-one assessment with him, consultation with him, presentation with him. He's going to find out exactly what's needed. He's going to go over all of the pricing and fit it into your budget, and we're going to customize the needs specifically to your situation. How does that sound? That's how you do it. That's all part of the process. So now the person's like, that sounds great. So now when they call in, yeah, they were looking for a price, but you tell them and you guide them by controlling the conversation that I won't know what the price is until I get out there and I see you. And you can even use my analogy of the real estate. You're welcome. There you go. Don't ever say I never gave you anything. You could use that analogy because it makes sense. I don't know how many hours you need. I don't know how much care is necessary. I don't know what you think you need, but you really need. You want to see the house. You want to see what you're getting involved with. I mean, this is a patient's life we're talking about here. So a 5-minute phone call is not going to be necessary to sell and close it. But a 10, 15-minute prospect call will set up an appointment to go meet the person, and that's when you let your process, which I'll get to in a second. I promise I'm going to tell you everything. This is what we got to do. We don't have the right inquiry management process. That's where the challenge is. This sets up everything. Imagine you're playing bowling. You need somebody to set up the pins. This sets up the pins. All right? This is from somebody who attended the boot camp. Same thing, talking about inquiry management. She attended the very first boot camp, Cheryl from Pennsylvania. I've been the owner of a home care hospice agency for 18 years. Do you think she knows a thing or two about this business? Of course she does. The ideas and techniques that Steve not only taught, but fully demonstrated, because that's the key. We're going to teach you how to, we're going to show you how to do this. Made me an in-service rock star. I purchased the video and the techniques and services and presentation style. I am now producing a squad of rock stars. She's blowing her business up using the things she learned at the boot camp. Thank you for making me look so smart. Even weeks after the boot camp, Steve still answers questions that we have called upon. He's an excellent coach. She's one of our coaching clients. I highly recommend attending his boot camp. That is, unless you're one of my competitors. Ha, ha, ha. She doesn't want her competitors to go. I don't blame her. She's doing very well, and her business has been growing by leaps and bounds because she's invested in the training and the know-how, and she's executing it in her organization. Now is a better time than ever. Close confidently. Here's something that a lot of people lack, all right? I know many people on this call or on this webinar with me right now. We're not salespeople. Many of us are not salespeople. I know many of us are nurses, our physicians, our therapists. Many of us are accountants or financial people. Many of us have business backgrounds, but we're not salespeople. This is where our challenge comes in. The process that I'm going to go over and train everybody on does the sales for you. I don't have to try and close somebody. The process does the close so that I can do what I'm best at. I'm a nurse. I want to care for people. The process or the sale is a necessary evil to getting more patients that I can provide care for. Yes or yes? Yes. It's a necessary evil that we have to go through. This is how we get through it. You always meet your prospect. Get rid of the idea of closing on the phone. Some people can do it a little bit, whatever, but that is a slippery slope. If you close on the phone, do you know what you basically are doing? You're basically like Home Hero and all the other companies that are out there that are Uberizing this industry because they're not meeting with people face to face. They're not selecting the caregivers and everything else. You might as well be care.com if you're not going to meet with somebody. What is the advantage of going with an agency? Let's face it, we as agencies, we have to elevate our game. We have to elevate our game. Coming out, meeting with prospective clients, doing complimentary assessments, doing complimentary home inspections and stuff, all of these things are part of a process that makes agencies the best choice out there. And I'm with you and the other 30, 40,000 home care businesses across the United States and in other countries, there's hundreds of thousands of us across the world. I'm with you in the agency is the most secure and safest, best way to go about it. We have to elevate our game. We must meet with our prospect, all right? Always, always do that. And your confidence is essential. You can't walk in and not know what to do. You can't be nervous. If you're nervous trying to make a sale, you're not going to make a sale. I don't want you to even think about, I have to make this sale. I want you to go in and do what you do best. Let the process do the closing for you so that your caring personality and your good-spirited nature shows through for the client because it's all about the best quality of care. You heard me say this before. If you've been to any of the events, you heard me talk on webinars. If you put the care first, the money comes. So don't worry about the sale. When you're confidently walking, you know you're going to do it. That's the essential key. You're going to build value. This is a value build close. One of my clients in Sacramento I was talking to a couple of weeks ago on the phone, and his rates are where they should be. He's about 10% over the average for his area, and he still closes at a 90% rate. So that means if he meets with 10 families, 9 out of 10 sign up with him, and he said he loves the closing process because it's all about building value. He shows his workers' compensation. He shows his tax identification number. He shows his license. He shows everything that he had, all of his credentials. He has his process down. He explains who his company is, why he started his business. He has his specialty programs. He does the assessment. He does everything he's supposed to do, and the process works it out. So at the end, when he's all said and done, and he gets to the price, and he asks, would you like this to get started? They always say yes, because it's a value build close. That's how you get the above average price. That's how you get your rates to be that 10% higher than where they are now. When you go into a presentation, you also want to assume the sale. It sounds cliche to assume the sale, but think about it from this perspective, all right? I am coming to see you. You called me because your loved one needs help. You have the need. You called me because you want to inquire about my services. So when I walk in, if there's a need there, I'm going to assume that they want the care, they want the services. So why would you go with anybody else other than me? Because I'm the best that there is at what I do, and I'm going to bend over backwards for you. Because you heard me, you all answered my question. You all know what I was talking about. You all said yes. If you get that phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're the one who's going to answer it, or somebody in your organization. You're going to handle that. You're already committing to providing the best care. So when I walk in, I already know we're going to do it. When I used to walk in with Care Choice, which is the company I worked for, our company at the end, when I worked at Care Choice, when I was the vice president of that company, I would confidently walk in knowing that all of our staff, our entire team, are going to do everything it takes to take care of your loved one. So there was no doubt in my mind, which goes back to confidence. I was able to assume the sale. I knew they were going to walk out with me because I knew we had been here 100 times before. And I knew we were going to do a great job. So I always assumed the sale, and more often than not, I walked out with it. And then finally, yes, you follow your system. You follow the system. Now, what is the system? Write this down. Write this down. I'm just gonna give it to you right now, so you have it. Don't say I never gave you anything. I love you. I want you to be successful. All right. This is it. It's all about you and your organization and your business. All right. You got to come in. You got to break the ice. You got to do something to warm the client up and get them to stop thinking that this is a sales presentation. Then you want to go right into the history of your company and talk about why you do what you do and why you started your business. Then you want to confirm what the client is looking for. At the beginning, when you broke the ice, they're going to tell you. Your inquiry management, you learn the information, repeat it to them, and make sure that you understand what they're looking for. Then you're going to sell exactly what they're looking for. You're going to customize your services to exactly what their need is. All right, at the boot camp, I'm going to show you exactly. I'm going to do a presentation with you at the boot camp. I actually did this last year several times. It's amazing. I get volunteers from the audience to come up, one person to be a adult child and the other person to be a patient, and they come up in front of 200 people, and I do a sales presentation. I let you, the audience, actually pick the conditions and the circumstances of the events so that I can show you that you can close anything. You want to see that live because it can close. I can close anything with it. My clients can close anything with this process. So you go through selling exactly what they need. You build the value with your credentials. Then you discuss your price. Then you do your intake. And finally, you wrap it up asking for the sale. There's the steps. It's real simple. It's done. It's easy. Having a binder is probably the easiest way to do it. Let me see if I can get my webcam on. I'll show you my binder in a second. This is my bad boy. Where is it? Here we go. Love this. All right, let's see. Ta-da! All right, can you see me? This was my binder, this dirty, filthy, stinking binder is all ripped up and broken. In here, these pages have mucus and fingertips on it. This whole thing, I went through to every one of my clients. And you know what was really cool about having a process like this? You know what's really cool about it? It allowed me to let other people in our organization close at the same success rate that I had. So now think about this, business owners, right? I'm the owner of my business. I don't have time to go out there and do everything. A lot of us don't want to let go of closing patients because we feel we're the only person in our business that can close. Not the case when you have a system. Not the case when you have a binder. When you train your staff, you know what the coolest feeling was? I would love when our receptionists would come back. I would send our receptionists, because I'm out drumming up business at networking meetings and doing lunch and learns and in services and at hospitals and power partnering. I'm out there making the phone ring. I'm the rainmaker. Brian, the owner of Characters, my partner, at the end, he was running the business. So when prospects came in, we had anybody go out who could sell it. If you get an after-hours call, if you have somebody on call, that person knows how to close. They could go out and meet the client and close them. When our receptionists would come back and they were like, I made a sale. This person never sold anything a day in their life. They come back and made a sale with the process. Do you know what that does for me? Think about it, business owners. The less we have on our plate, the more we can focus on growing our business. This is how we're going to thrive in 2016. It's all about having the processes and duplicating the processes internally in our organization. The best offense is a good defense, right? Our inside sales, our operational sales are the most important part of it, because we work so hard to get every freaking referral that we have. We want to convert them, and we want to convert them at a fair rate to the client and us. This is the process right here. Hear from Gwenda, who came to a boot camp a couple years ago. Thank you, Steve. All the advice I've received from you had worked. Some immediately and some using more patience, but really worth it for business in the long run. That's what she meant by saying that. That's straight off my website. Every one of these is straight. You can go on the website right now and read countless testimonies of people who've been to the training. And there's countless video testimonies that people have given from the training, because it makes sense, because it works. This is your future. This is your organization. Let's blow it up. 2016, your best year yet. And finally, retaining. I promised you I was going to talk about retention, right? Think about it this way, Mark. Think about it this way, Stephanie, Julie, Gwen, everybody else on this web. I want you to think about it this way for a second. If I have an extra 10% rates. What can I do for my caregivers? So if I was charging $20 and now I'm charging $22.50, I could give my caregivers $1, maybe even $1.50 an hour more than they're currently making. I can retract and retain and attract and retain the best caregivers in the area. These are all things that we did. Remember, I was charging $23.50 in 2012. When I walked away, I went crazy, and I just said, I'm going to raise my rates because I can't get enough caregivers. I'm going to raise my rates. I raised my rates to $23.50 when everyone was charging $21. So $2.50 over the average, and did my closing ratio go down? No. What did it do for the retention? Think about it from this perspective. What is your most valuable asset? It is the person on the front line. It is your caregiver. They are the most valuable asset in your business because if you don't have them, you don't have services, you don't have a business. They are the most valuable asset, yet why are we paying them $9 an hour, $8 an hour, $7.50 an hour? You know, I remember when we left, we were paying like $12.50, $13 an hour is what we were paying. So at $23.50, we were making $10, $10.50 an hour over what we were paying the caregivers. And by the time you factor everything else in, our margins remain the same. Come on, think about it. The government is forcing us to do this really because we're timid, we're afraid to do it. So now we got to invest in us, invest in training, invest in know-how to get over this hurdle together as an industry. And I know every single one of you on this call, you know how good when you invest in yourself, what it does for yourself. You all invested in college. You all invested in starting a business. You know what it's like to invest. Would you like to get your return? It's always a good idea to invest in yourself. Every week, you have to work on recruitment. This is one of those things that we do simultaneously with our marketing effort. I was talking to one of my clients here in New Jersey. He started with us about 3 months ago. Only recently allowed to do work in New Jersey. This individual was talking to me, and he was saying that, you know, we were talking about how you have to recruit every week and you have to market every week because he started marketing without the recruiting and he started getting referrals. You know, I know it's, hey, we're good. I'm good, right? We're good at training people how to get referrals, but he wasn't recruiting. So now he took the foot off the gas a little bit to get the recruitment going, and I'm like, you got to do both every single week. This is a full-time effort. If you have a good organization or a big organization, if you're a small organization, you got to split your time wisely. Half your time, owners, on recruitment, the other half on marketing, so that you can, as you're getting cases, you can fill the need, so you can grow your organization and put those caregivers to work. You can't do one or the other. You can't recruit and not give them work, because if you do that, 2 weeks later when you finally start getting some cases, those caregivers are already working somewhere else. So you must do them both simultaneously. Here's how you solve the problem. You got to give bonuses. To create a culture of recruitment, which you see right here, to create a culture of recruitment, you have to give bonuses that are valuable. I happened to be in Washington State back in September. And when I was in Washington State, I was talking to about 100 some odd home care companies across the state, and they're all talking about the caregiver problem. It's a crisis up there. And every one of them, I ask, God bless every one of them. You know I love you guys. If you're on here, you know I talk to you. I love you. You know that. I'm just saying this as an example, speaking in general. I said, what is it? What do you have to, like, what is your caregiver bonus? And every single person said $100. Now I want you to think for a second here. $100. $100 10, 15 years ago was a lot of money. But in today's economy, $100 is not a lot of money. $100 is not exciting to many people. I usually walk around with anywhere from $150 to $200 spending cash in my pocket. All right? That's how I am. I have a family of 5. All right? So when my wife and my kids and I go out for dinner, if I pay cash, it's like $65 plus tip. And that's if we have an appetizer, a meal, and a dessert. Right? $65. My kids are 5, 3, and 1. $65. Are you freaking kidding me? That's what it costs. So $100 is not a lot of money. That is not exciting. So what do you give as a bonus? Here's, so write this down, write this down, write this down. I want you to calculate over the course of a year, how much do you spend on recruitment of caregivers? What is included in that is the price of all of your advertising, the price of the flyers, the signs, the billboards, and the price of the salary of the person who does it part-time or full-time. So say I'm an agency with a part-time recruiter who spends about 20 hours a week. If I'm paying that recruiter, say $40,000 a year, just throwing it out there, $20,000 of her salary goes towards recruitment. So that's $20,000. I spend $10,000 on my ads, all my print and everything else, and I spend another $5,000 on billboards and whatever I can to get caregivers, radio ads, whatever it is that you do, right? So now I'm at $35,000 for the year. How many caregivers did I get for $35,000? Not the ones that didn't become caregivers, but the ones that actually became a caregiver. Because what I want you to determine is what is my cost per caregiver that actually goes through and passes and is clear registered to work for our company. Many people that I talk to spend around $500 per caregiver. That's what I'm going to say the average numbers. I don't know it. I haven't found the stat, but my guess is they spend around $500 per caregiver. So what is a good, reasonable bonus? How would you like to get 2 caregivers for the price of 1? A good bonus, half of what your cost per caregiver is. In this example, that's $250. $250 is exciting to a caregiver. That's a half a week's pay for many of us, right? For many of our caregivers. That's exciting. So look at whatever your cost for acquiring a caregiver, cut it in half, there's your bonus. Now you get 2 for the price of 1. Win for you, your caregiver makes $250 every time they refer a friend, win for them. The other part of the problem that I find about bonuses that people don't like to do is they're too hard to attain. What do I mean by this? Well, when I was back in Washington State, I love you guys. I'll throw Virginia in this too, because I was in Virginia in October, and everybody told me the same thing. This is the way we think across the country, okay? So, you know, I have West Coast and East Coast and everybody in the middle. We all think the same way. Well, once the caregiver that we hire works for 90 days or 3 months, then we give the bonus to the other caregiver. And I was like, there's your problem right there. It's too hard to attain. How many of us hire a caregiver 6 months ago, and that caregiver is still working for us today? Most of us don't. Caregivers usually have a short lifetime unless they get a long-time value client or they're a good caregiver and there's less turnover and you're getting them working right away. That most agencies aren't in that position. So as a result, their turnover is pretty high at the caregivers. So 3 months, even if you were going to give me $1,000 after 3 months, by the time it comes time for me to get paid, because let's face it, I refer somebody today, they come in, interview you, there's a 2-week process before they can start working. Now they start working, now 90 days have to pass, then I get paid 2 weeks after that, so now 4 months has passed, then you give me $1,000, which that's not the bonus, I'm just hypothetical, even if it was $1,000, I won't even remember why I got it. So it has to be easily attainable. What do I recommend when I tell people? I tell people 80 hours. 80 hours. Now, I know some of you like just fell off your chair on the floor. 80 hours, that's only 2 weeks. Yes, 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 do it, do it, do it, do it. To the caregiver who referred you somebody today, 2 weeks now they start working. 2 weeks later they've reached 80 hours. A week after they get paid. 5 weeks later they get $250 bonus, which is what I'm suggesting. They'll remember, oh, that's all I had to do to get that? Yes. Every time you have a conversation with your caregiver, you remind them. You state the case. Hey, don't forget, we have a caregiver bonus. It's $250 for every person you refer. All they have to do is work 80 hours. That's 2 weeks full-time with us, and you get the bonus. Every time, remind them. If anybody who's working with us, a caregiver, is on this webinar, you remember we had this one caregiver who made like $7,000 in referral bonuses because she referred like half of her church to come work for our agency. And you know what else happens? I'm going to throw this caveat out here. This is going back to the direct referral marketing, because everything we do goes hand in hand working together. All right? When you have a culture of recruitment and retention in your organization, this means you're the best agency. You know why? Because every social worker, every discharge planner, every case manager, nurse, every person in a position of referring, every family that we talk to, they all ask you, where do you get your caregivers from? Do you want to talk about confidence? You want to hear a response when you say, well, actually, most of our caregivers are referred to us from other caregivers that work for us because we take such good care of our service providers. They want their friends to work with us too. You could charge $5 an hour over the lowest priced person or $6 over the lowest priced person. They can't say that. You can, because it's the truth. You are the best. And so therefore, when it comes to care for my loved one, I want the very best. And if your prices are slightly above average, because I'm not telling you to go crazy. If the average is $20 and you're going $22, that's slightly above the average for the best. That's what my mother deserves. That's what my aunt deserves. That's what my grandmother deserves. That's what my patients from the facilities and the places we're trying, that's what they deserve. They deserve the best. You want to talk about, smoke and mirrors. I was talking to somebody earlier today. The smoke and mirrors show that Soul Shores. This is somebody who was where was she? She was in California as well. I was on California all day today. I was talking to this lady from California earlier today, and I was talking to her about I call it the smoke and mirror dog and pony show. And that's the social worker saying to us, it's about patient choice, right? Patient choice is garbage. But if somebody says it to you, you know what patient's choice is? I think patient's choice is for the best service provider. That's what I think patient's choice is. And who's the best service provider? The person with the best caregivers. And who has the best caregivers? The agency that has caregivers that are referred from caregivers that work there because you take care of them. It goes right back to the first thing, most valuable asset. I can't stress this enough. At the boot camp, all I'm going to talk about is all of this stuff and train you so that you are well-oiled machines, so your organization is just going to freaking blow up and go crazy. Boom. This is a sign. I saw this yesterday. Here's a great idea for somebody. Posted a sign out front of an apartment complex where a whole bunch of caregivers lived in. Bet you that guy gets a lot of phone calls. So there's an idea for it. Bet you he gets a lot of now hiring home health aides. Boom, 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 boom. It's on Route 9 in Old Bridge. I saw it yesterday. I was like, wow, this is perfect timing, right? Awesome. Stacy came to boot camp. Steve is great. I left the boot camp feeling overwhelmed with all the great information. Very unique but doable and manageable marketing techniques to grow your senior care business effectively. I can't wait to put what I've learned in the boot camp into practice. Steve and his crew are amazing. Can't wait to work with them. Here's another person from Jared. This year, I've been a fan of Steve's material and methods a year before I got to attend one of his boot camps. Let me tell you, it was worth every penny. It is the whole package. Great training, great motivation, and real insight on how to be successful at home care. Not just here is some helpful information on how to complete it. This was here is how you dominate your area. I can't make this stuff up. This is right on my website. It is a clear-cut formula for success. If followed, will take your business to new heights. We have implemented his teachings and have found instant, better ability to achieve the desired outcome for marketing, better relationship, keep people, more referrals. Thank you, Steve. Yes, the boot camp is worth time and money to attend. Here's another one. Amazing amount of sharing, knowledge, and friendship. Hi, thank you, Team Hurricane. Your time and energy is much appreciated. This is my third boot camp. This lady came to 3 boot camps. She keeps coming and coming and coming. Why? Because she's learning how to get the competitive advantage to win in her marketplace. That's why. The best practice knowledge, showing you overwhelming, all this great stuff. You got it. It's like a shot of B12 in your arm. Looking forward to blowing my competition, and she'll be at Phoenix in February as well. And here's one of my other favorites. I actually had the privilege of meeting this individual when I went out to Kansas City over the summer. Attended the boot camp 2.0, which is the one just finished my fast start, information presented, proven valuable, highly recommended attending the boot camp. The great thing about the program is that they're industry specific, not just general sales. This guy has more than 25 years of experience. He was amazed at how much he didn't know about selling in this industry. His business is growing. He's out there killing it. He's going to be there at Phoenix. My question is, I would love to see you there. Will you be our next success story? Yes, I want you to come because I had 1 hour with you, and in 1 hour, can I teach you everything? No. So here's what I'm going to do for you. I thank you for being on this webinar right now. Let me tell you about the boot camp and I hope to see you in Phoenix. There's already over 100 people registered. It will sell out. They all sell out because the content is legit. And again, don't take my word for it. We have countless testimonies. The boot camp. It is Phoenix, Arizona. It's at the Hilton Airport location, so you don't have to worry about taking a taxi. There's a shuttle to get there. And it's February. It's a 3-day event. We have packed so much information in it. They used to be 2-day events. This is a 3-day event. 11th, 12th, and 13th, all things sales and marketing from me, and we have other presenters as well. Absolutely incredible. Will blow you away. Here's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to do the inquiry management. I'm going to train you so you can train your people. We're going to role play. We're going to go through different situations. We're going to talk about different types of callers, what we do when we identify each caller, and how to train our staff to be machines at answering the phone and setting up appointments. I'm going to teach you how to close regardless of price. Yes, remember I talked about this earlier. I'm going to have volunteers from the audience come up on stage. We, as an audience, I want you to test me. Put this to the test. Tell me what diagnosis the person has. Tell me what the situation is. Tell me, give 3 rebuttals. I want 3 rebuttals because you only get 1 or 2 really. But give me 3 rebuttals. I'm going to show you how to go through it. We are going to close this person right there on the stage. It is amazing when jaws drop. That is life-changing right there. That's going to be done at the boot camp. Managing and hiring marketers. I didn't even talk about that during this, but that is one of the most important roles of inside sales. I hired a marketer. What do I have to do every day, every week, every month? What do I need to do to manage the person? How do I get, my productivity? What are the measurements? Everything else. That's all in there. And this is an exclusive to the boot camp only. I have an interview where I interviewed 2 social workers who have worked in hospitals and skilled nursing facilities and hospices. They talk about why they refer the companies they do. They talk about what their pet peeves are, how they wish to be approached, what are the things they look for in a good agency, and all this other information. That is a 90-minute session. We stop, we brainstorm. This was I had people who told me that interview that I have was by itself was worth the price of the entire boot camp, twice what they paid for it. Just to know what a social work, what it's like on the other side of the table. Are you kidding me? Only at the boot camp do I show this. This is a $1,300 value. This is what conferences cost. If you go to other conferences that are 3-day conferences in healthcare, it's about $1,350. That is what it costs. Now, I want you to think for a second. If all this boot camp did was allow you to increase your rates by 10% of what they are and maintain everything else the same, meaning maintain your conversion ratios, maintain the referrals, everything else, but you had 10% more profit coming into your business, would that be worth $1,350? Yes. If all this did was help you to set up and convert 5%, just 5% more phone calls over the course of a year. Say you get 100 phone calls a year, and right now you only convert 15 of them. Now you convert 20 of them. Is that not worth $1,350? Yes, it is when the lifetime value of a client financially is $11,000. Yes, it is. And finally, if all this does is help you to solve the recruitment and retention problem in your organization, in your area, for $1,350, is that not worth it? Of course it is. Yes, 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 yes. Well, the good news, you get all of these things that I'm going to discuss, and it's not $1,350. The price of the ticket is only $699. That is right, 3-day event. All the information I just discussed there, and we have other speakers. This is just what I'm presenting. All right, so there's other speakers, there's other topics and everything. It's going to be an amazing event. $699, over 100 people are already registered and confirmed attending. What are those 100 people going to know that you're not going to know? Actually, I know you're going to know it because you're going to be there. You're going to do the right thing. You're going to be there. I'm going to throw in a bonus for today as my thank you for being on this. If you call in today, all right, and you sign up for the boot camp 2-day only, here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to show you this. You see this? Remember? I love this. This is my sales presentation binder. This is the one that I used. I have an electronic copy of one that you can make for yourself right now. When you call in, we are going to give this to you as my thank you for investing in yourself, investing in your organization's growth for 2016. Here's a sales presentation done for you. you have your own binder and you can start using it now so you don't have to wait until February to execute. That's my thank you. I got a couple of other bonuses for you too. Besides this binder, this is a $597 value that we have here. But let's see. Also, in addition, this is the first time I'm announcing this because nobody knows this yet. Does anybody know who Drew Bledsoe is? Drew Bledsoe, the famous quarterback. He was the quarterback of the New England Patriots when he got hurt, and then Tom Brady came in, and then they went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl and everything. Drew Bledsoe's father is leading the nation on parenting with dignity. And his father, Mac Bledsoe, is going to be coming to this boot camp, delivering a keynote address on the second day, talking about things that we can do, special add-on value adds to help close clients on how being the son or the daughter, working with our elderly parents and helping them to be able to age in place with dignity and grace, because that role reversal is very, very difficult for many people. It is an amazing presentation. I'm very excited to have this individual come to it. He's going to bring some memorabilia from that Drew Bledsoe signed and stuff. It's going to be amazing. I am privileged and honored to say that, and to announce this publicly for the first time, he is going to be one of the presenters at this event besides myself. I'm also going to announce publicly that ClearCare is one of our sponsors. They are our platinum sponsor. And ClearCare does a cocktail reception on the end of the first night, and anybody who's been to one of the original boot camps knows that that cocktail reception is amazing. You're going to get a chance to interact with our coaches. You're going to get to interact with me and the other speakers, and you're just going to be able to have a chance to sit down and take it down a notch and just learn and interact with other business owners from around the country. I can't begin to tell you what it's like to see 100 business owners in one room having a glass of wine, and people start sharing best practices and how do I do this and how do I do that. That alone is worth the value of attending. But that's also coming, and you also get today, if you register today only, you call in, you got to call in. I'll give you our phone number in a minute. We're going to give you that done for you presentation binder because I want you there. Yes, do I want you there? Of course I want you there. Why? Because I know it's going to change your business. You know how I know? Because I've changed the business of hundreds of agencies across the country and helped them do so by the boot camps and the training that we give. $6.99, that's all it is. Are you worth the investment? Yes, of course you are. I can't wait to see you. Take action. Call now. This is our phone number. The phone lines are open. It is 848-444-9865. That's 848-444-9865. Take action. Call in now. Say, I want the sales presentation binder, and I want to see Mac Bledsoe, and I want to have the cocktail party that's coming, and I want to hear all the things that Steve's talking about, and say, you better blow me away, Steve, because I promise you I'm going to do it. These events are amazing, folks. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving last week. And by the way, when you call in, I want you to ask, how can I get this for free? Because we have a product that we offer, and we can give you a complimentary ticket to the boot camp if you want to invest in that. So when you're on the phone, ask, how can I come to the boot camp for free, and make sure that they tell you about how to do that. So again, here's the phone number. I thank you so much for your time. I hope to see you in Phoenix. And if I don't see you in Phoenix, I wish you all the best in 2016. I really do. It's an amazing, amazing time to be in home care. Yeah, we have challenges. Yeah, you hear about the compliance and regulation, and you get lemons, right? That's what you get. Here at the boot camp, we're going to teach you how to make lemonade from those lemons and just blow away the competition. So, again, happy December. Let's finish the year strong, and I will see you next year. And let's make 2016 the best year ever for the home care industry. Thank you.